with Ochudo Ayi, and I'm your host, Ochudo. If you're joining this podcast for the first time, um, it's about reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. So it's not a teaching platform as the Bible, and I leave the scriptures that we read in the description box. At the end of 1 year, if you start with whatever day you start and you go full circle, you would have covered the Bible in 1 year. So I chose to do this because I wanted to share. I found it very transforming when I first did it, and I wanted to do it, but this time I didn't want to do it alone. And the reason was simply because I wanted an audience for accountability. I also didn't want to. I found out that when I was ready to start, I just saw, for some weird reason, I couldn't find anywhere where a structured Bible in 1 year plan was. And at that time, I didn't have my Bible reading guide. This was written by my church, Family Ministries International. And every single day we look at Psalm, Proverbs, a New Testament, and an Old Testament scripture. So I decided that let me just do this and put it out here for those who might be curious about the Bible, those who want to test the theories, those who want to discard the theories. Yeah, you're free. You're free to believe anything you want. The idea is that believe it because you ready yourself. And not, you don't have to rely on someone else to interpret what it is that you read. A lot of people are so angry and disenfranchised with church, and they say things like, the pastor said. Why don't you just go read it for yourself and decide that, you know what, I want nothing to do with God, than to have to be denied something great just simply because you were relying on other people to interpret it for you. So that's basically why I'm doing this. So today is day 321, and we have officially 44 days to go. All right, so our Old Testament reading today is Ezekiel chapters 35 and 36. Proverbs, because we're done with our Psalms, is Proverbs chapters 27, verses 23 to 27. Our New Testament is James, because we rounded up Hebrews yesterday. James chapters 1, verses 1 to 18. And we're done with the Psalms. We're done with our Psalms. Yes. So today, let's quickly see what Ezekiel is saying. And I hope today will not be as grim as the other episodes have been. So Ezekiel 35 and 36. Now, Son of Man, face Mount Sinai. So many times I retell the stories, I demonstrate them if I have to, and I lace them with Nigerian humor. I use Nigerian slangs and balances sometimes to describe what it is I'm trying to say. And I say them in first person, second person, third person, whatever feels right at the moment. Okay, so now face Mount Sinai and say to them, I am your enemy. Now, Sire are the descendants of Esau. Esau was the twin brother to Jacob. The Israelites are the descendants of Jacob. Now, for a long time, hey, I see you. For a long time, God didn't want Jacob and Esau's descendants to have any fighting. But this time around, he decided to pick a fight with them himself. And that's because the Edomites, the people of Mount Seir, decided to pick a fight with Israel some time back. So this is Ezekiel's prophecy to them in chapters 35. Face Mount Seir and say to them, I am your enemy. I'll demolish your cities and make you desolate. Your hatred for Israel led you to butcher them when they were already being punished by me. I swear, your time has come, and I'll fill your land with dead. People everywhere. Hi, Mario. Hi, Maria. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me today. And thank you for the hearts and the likes. Please subscribe to the channel so that you can catch me next time I go live, and then you can contribute to the commentary. All right, in the comment section. You said so. Let me go back to my notes. I'll fill your land with the dead. Going in and coming out, your cities will never be rebuilt again. You said you take Judah Well, I'll pay back your angry deed with my own angry deeds. I've heard every contemptuous boast you made against Israel, and we call them our food. The world will rejoice when I make you guys desolate and wipe you out, Mount Seir people. You will know that I'm the Lord. So, I mean, that's straightforward, isn't it? God was saying that, look, and this is a highly summarized version, because I leave the scriptures in the description box so that you go read it for yourself. So it's highly summarized, okay? Chapter 36 says, now turn to Israel's mountains and say to them, you've been taunted. They have said ancient heights belong to them. So I noticed that there's a lot of metaphor, similes, a lot of figurative figures of speeches used, and a lot of poetry used in some of these scriptures. So I hope you can follow. Now turn to Israel's mountains and say to them, you've been taunted. They have said the ancient heights belong to them. Your enemies have attacked and mocked and slandered you. Now hear God speak. Now hear what God is saying to you. Speak to the mountains, the ravines. My jealous anger burns against those nations, especially Edom. And the Edomites are the mountain, the people of Mount Seir that we just read about. Especially Edom, for taking my land as plunder. I am furious. You suffered shame before the surrounding nations. I've sworn that they will soon have their own shames. Israel will produce heavy crops. Israel will produce heavy crops moving forward. And you know, I have to pause here. When I was growing up, one of the things I heard about Israel when I was like maybe around 9-10 years old was that they used to have like these bumper harvests, big massive crops, twigs that would, you know, just you won't find anywhere else. So I just thought, oh, okay, because they're God's people and blah blah. I had no opinions about them. I do have my opinions now, you know, but that's not what we're reading. Thank you for the loves. I see every like and love today. I'm glad. All right, so I'm going back to my notes. So see, Israel, God speaking to them, I care about you guys. Your ground will be plowed and your crops will be planted. I'll increase your population and rebuild the ruined cities. I'll increase even the animals and make you more prosperous than you've ever been. Go ahead and tell me the whack. Go ahead and tell me the whack. Prosperous than you've ever been. I'll cause my people to walk on you. And I'll cause my people to walk on you. He's talking to the land now. I'll cause my people to walk on you, and you will be their territory, never to rob them of their children again. Now, others once said, I'm really sorry to hear this, Tikwa. I'm sorry. Sometimes terrible things will happen to people. But if there's anything I'm going to leave with you today, is that everyone is human, and sometimes you can't really rely on human beings because they all have their good and bad moments. And you may have been with a girl who is not loyal or honest. I hope that I want you to know you can live without her, and you can get over this. Like, determine in your heart that you're not going to pine for someone who is not worth it. Did you hear what I said? Do not pine for someone who is not deserving of it. Okay? So chin up, square up your shoulders, and try to be encouraged. Okay? I recommend that she doesn't deserve you, and really you don't deserve it as well. So let her go. Let her go with the other person. He is already going to be living with the fear that she would also go astray on him. But as a mom or a sister, as like requested, I advise you to let go. All right? And find a way to find things that make you happy. Maybe indulge in some hobbies or do something, read a new book, travel. Just find new friends. Just detach from the person, okay? I'm sorry this happened to you. All right, so let's get back to our notes. All right, so he says, I'll cause my people, the Israelites, to walk on you, the land, and you'll be their territory, never to be robbed of their children again. Others have said of you that the land, this land of yours, devours your kids, devours its inhabitants, and robs your kids. I will let them insult you again. When Israel lived in their own land, they defiled it like a woman's menstrual cloth. They committed murder and idol worship. So I poured out my fury. I'm very fine, thank you, Prince. Thank you for joining us today. Good to see you. So I poured out my fury on the land and scattered them among the nations. I think that one of God's primary ways of dealing with a nation is to scatter the inhabitants so that they are not together, they don't enjoy that community. Now in my country, in Nigeria, there's this massive, kind of like it's catching. I mean, might not be a bad thing, might not be God punishing us, but families are separated. I know families who live in Canada, America, and immediate families like nuclear families who live in different parts of the world. And the way I see things, they may never live together again as families. One person in US, one person in Canada, one person in Australia, one person UK, and so it's like, and I've seen this over and over with Israel. I mean, I'm not saying that's what's going on, but I think it's if I were to talk about the patterns here, one of God's ways of expressing anger is when He scatters the people. But let me round this up. So I'll scatter them among the nations because they shamed my holy name and made other nations to say God could not keep them safe in His own land. So I'm bringing you back for my holy name's sake. For my holy name's sake, I'll show you how holy I am through you before their very eyes. I will wash you clean and give you a new heart and a new spirit so that you can obey my decrees. I'll leave you to live in your ancestral land, and you'll be my people and I'll be your God. Pause. If I count how many times God said, I'll be your people and you'll be my God, you see a pattern of a God who is longing for acceptance by the people He created and saved. You see it all over the place. I'll be your people and you'll be my people and I'll be your God. It's like a boyfriend longing for acceptance of a girlfriend who kind of like wants him but has eyes elsewhere, and does not give him attention or even show him love. Just very sad. Anyway, good crops, rain will be in your land. There'll be no more famine, and no one will scoff at you guys anymore. Not because you deserve it, not because you deserve it. This former wasteland will not be like Eden. I'm ready to hear your prayers again. So, pause. 2 episodes ago, some people were praying to God, and God was like, I don't want to hear your prayers. Don't you dare ask me to say anything. After you never listen to me, you guys prefer to worship idols, and prefer to kill people and murder each other. So I don't want to hear anything. So this is God having a change of heart. So subscribe to my channel, please. I see y'all. So this is God having a change of heart. I'm ready to hear Israel's prayers one more time, and I'll increase them so that they will fill the streets at Jerusalem's festivals. I'm very well, Prince. I, the Lord, have spoken. I, the Lord, have spoken. So I left something here as a very short note. I feel and I believe that these prophecies were done, and people were not even aware of it. Initially, when I thought of all these prophecies, I just assumed that they were done where everyone could hear. But it seemed to me like Ezekiel would be told to prophesy facing the mountains. He'd be alone, and he would just say these things out into the air, and like the universe just grabs it and begins to work to bring it to pass. That's what I feel is going on here. Anyway, so our New Testament, our Proverbs, we're going to read Proverbs 27, 23 to 27. Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds. For riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations. When the hay is removed and the tender grass shows itself, and the herbs of the mountains are gathered in, the lambs will provide your clothing. The goats are the price of a field. You shall have enough goat's milk for your food, and for the food of your household, and the nourishment of your maidservants. I actually find the book of Proverbs and Psalms quite interesting in a different way. And honestly, I wouldn't mind dedicating some time to it next year. Let's see where that takes us. Okay. All right, so let's look at Hebrews. James, because we're being introduced to James right now. So the James, this is what I think. I feel like it's simplistic. It has that kumbaya feel. Kumbaya. Everyone's just like, oh, just be nice to one another, show love to one another, don't do bad things, and all of that stuff. So I wonder, we are getting this write-ups as the Bible. What did the people there read then? Because I'm pretty sure when these letters were being written, many people didn't accept them as the word of God. They were just probably like, yeah, we respect James, he wrote to us, that's why we pay attention to him. And there will be people who will even feel, why would I agree with James, What did they rely on primarily to be able to build their faith in Jesus? I wonder. Anyway, so let me start. James chapters 1, verses 1 to 18. A letter from James to the 12 tribes of the Jewish believers abroad. So this were for the Jewish believers, mostly in Europe, I think. When trouble comes, consider it great joy. Your endurance can only grow when your faith has been tested. So let it grow, making you complete and perfect in every way. If you need wisdom, ask God. He'll generously give you without holding back. He won't be upset. Just ensure that you're not having faith. Excuse me. Just ensure that you're not having faith in other things other than God. Do not waver when you ask God for something, because a divided person is as unsettled as a wave, and a wave being tossed by the wind. And I'm sure if you've ever seen a wave on television or you've lived by the beach, you've seen how unstable the waves are. Someone who has asked God and then loses faith should not waver in what he has asked God for. Don't expect to receive anything if your faith is wavering. Divided loyalty causes instability in everything that such people do. Poor believers boast of honor. Rich believers should boast of God's humbling. Like a flower here, the sun rises and scorches the flower and it's gone. So will the rich fade away with their achievements. Pause. So this letter sounds to me like it's people who are like peasants who are writing letters, and kind of like the rich are being judged. I'm sorry that I feel that way. When you read the letter, it sounds to me like it's poor people and they're angry with the rich. I don't know how the rich may be behaving. Maybe they're entitled, or maybe they carry themselves like they expect too much. So the writer of James is saying things like, look, you fade away just like the poor people will fade away. Don't be proud. Be humble, and thank God that God allows you to be humble, and all of that stuff. Anyway, I wonder what you think. Please tell me what you think in the comment section. I'll leave the scriptures in the description box, so you can go check it out yourself. Okay. All right. So he says the rich ones should boast of God's humbling. Now, like a flower here and gone tomorrow, so are rich people who fade away with all their achievements. God will bless those who are able to endure the temptations with crowns of life. But don't go saying God tempts you. For God does not tempt anyone, and he himself cannot be tempted. If you are tempted, you're tempted because you are enticed by your desires, which give birth to sinful actions. Now, and those sinful actions, they allow for these sinful actions, they grow more, and then they bring death. So don't be misled by it, I guess. So every time I read these things, I infer what could have been going on behind the scenes. So I feel like there's a lot of talk and talk behind the scenes, and so James had to write to them saying, look guys, calm down, don't be misled by all these arguments. Whatever is good and perfect is a gift from our Father. He never changes or casts a shifting shadow. We were birthed through his word, and we are his most prized possession. I think he's saying this to them because people were saying things like, oh, maybe why are we poor? Look at these rich people. God must be the one bringing bad things to happen. It must be God and all of that. So the writer in James is saying, don't. God doesn't bring bad stuff. He brings good stuff. So if I'm to be honest with you, I feel like this is a very simplistic way it was written, kind of like elementary. So we were birthed by his word, and now we are his most prized possessions. So how does that feel to know that you are the most prized possession of God? I'd like to know. Leave it in the description box and let me know what you think. Now, I put down my notes here and said, I wonder how these people received these letters. Did they receive it as a nice suggestion? Good to know? Or did they take it as a doctrinal mandate that it is today? Why weren't the disciples not captured? So, I noticed that Jesus had 12 disciples. There are barely any. Andrew, Nathaniel, all those people, we don't know what they believed. They didn't write anything. Instead, Paul, who didn't even meet Jesus, ended up writing so many things about Jesus. And then there was just a handful of the people who actually met and walked with Jesus, whose words are captured in the Bible. I want to believe that many other disciples wrote. I wonder why they were not captured in the Bible. I wonder. All right, so that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you all for those who commented, and I hope that Diwa will feel better. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Prince, and all the other people who were watching, who didn't say anything. Thank you for liking. Please subscribe to my channel so that you know when next I go live. This has been episode 321. We have 44 days to go, and I'll see you in the next episode.